Okay, here hopefully is the practice session advice that I've been trying to give for a while, and technology has not been helping me. So, first of all, I decided to go ahead and actually park. I will go ahead and turn off my car too, just so you know I'm not driving around being dangerous. Did have a couple comments about that, which I get. So I'll try to make sure I park first, but I'll think about what I'm going to say before I park. Anyway, when it comes to practice in general, whether you're talking about for brand new, tiny little baby beginners starting at 3 years old, or whether you're talking about a 40-year-old starting violin for the first time, or whether you're talking about an 18-year-old who's been playing violin since they're 3 or 4 years old, probably the most important thing that I can relay is to keep practice sessions goal oriented. It's really easy to get into a practice room and sort of think that the goal is to spend as much time as possible. And that's usually what makes people kind of go, oh my gosh, like I really don't want to spend 3 hours just doing something that I'm not necessarily thinking about that terribly much anyway, because that can be kind of a mind-numbing thing. And even for like younger kids, 5 minutes feels like 3 hours. So in other words, don't think about it like, okay, we need to spend a certain amount of time, but think to yourself, okay, what are the goals that we want to orient ourselves by that we can kind of use to kind of generate some interest in the practice session? Because I will say, practicing something, and we've all done it, by the way, sometimes there is a time and a place. We'll talk about that later for just mind-numbing practice. But for the most part, especially for younger beginners or people who are especially having a hard time getting a practice session done because they sort of feel like, okay, I just got to do it like 42 more times. Sometimes that's the case. Most of the time, it's better to say, okay, I'm going to do this once. I want it to be in tune. Okay, so do it as slow as you need to so that the piece can be in tune. Then think to yourself, okay, now I want to speed it up. How fast can I go to maintain the intonation and add some speed to that? And then, so now we've got a goal, right? We're trying to play something in tune in time. So we break it down, practice the intonation, then practice making it faster, always starting at that beginning part and kind of moving to the next part, all oriented by our goals. The goal should usually be to play a piece at the correct tempo with correct intonation, especially, of course, on violin playing, especially when you're talking about real picky pieces where that's kind of our focus. There are some times where we play fun pieces, and the goal there is to kind of maybe get used to some new musical ideas, or just have some fun, in which case, then, of course, the goal in the practice session should be to have some fun, or to maybe even look into, like, say if you're doing St. Louis blues or something, we decided to pick up an extra piece that's outside of the Suzuki repertoire. It's not a bad idea to maybe look online. You can usually find information. Wikipedia is a great one for this one, since it's not something that's current. It's something that's, of course, usually pretty old, so there's already been a lot of discovery by musicologists and such, so the information that you can find on places like Wikipedia for older stuff like that is usually a bit better. For newer stuff, you almost want to go to like composers' Facebook pages and see what they say about the work and all that kind of stuff. But since we're a lot of the times doing really old works, those, of course, you can do just by looking up in a Wikipedia, JSTOR, there's all sorts of places. So even young kids can have fun doing that if they're kind of looking up, and parents obviously should help kind of search. You maybe even find videos where you find people kind of explaining some musical ideas about the whatever piece that it is that you're working on, and that can kind of also help generate some more interest in the practice session. The thing I like to prevent is mind-numbing practice, because a lot of the times, number one, it's very boring. It sort of gives us a feeling of like, oh gosh, I got to just keep going into this practice room and spending hours doing a thing. And to an extent that can be correct, but if we organize by a goal, that amount of time, we can kind of make it a little bit smaller. We can also kind of prevent ourselves from feeling like something is going to take a very long period of time, and it makes it a little bit easier to get that violin out and actually practice if I just think to myself, I just want to play this through one time really in tune. Or say for kids, they just want to play through the piece once just to kind of get used to the notes, and we'll work on tone and all that kind of stuff later. Although if you have some time, of course, work on the tone. All right. Hopefully you guys find something very helpful in this video. You can always contact me with questions. Either you can reply on Facebook where I'll post this, or you can email me or talk to me in your practice session. Happy practicing.